welcome to another unboxing video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander, and today we're taking a look at Almoravid from GMT Games. So this is designed by Volker Runke, and this is Volume 2 in the Levian campaign series. We played the introductory scenario to Nevsky, which is part of this series. This is the latest installation. I think this is Volume 2, and genuinely, I think there's already like 10 volumes or something in the works, because the system is something that's easily manipulatable. That's probably not a word, but it's something that can be used and taken and applied to a number of different medieval or ancient settings, and people have really kind of go into town with this as a great wargame system. So we've had a little bit of experience with it. Felt like I had no idea what I was doing in the game, but this one is the latest, and I'm very excited to try this out again and kind of get reacquainted with it. So this is a 1 to 2 player game. As always, these kind of games are best with 2 players. They say it plays in 3 to 4 hours, which once you know the rules, probably fairly reasonable for some of the scenarios in this as well. So this box is a big 3-inch box. This is absolutely chock full to the brim of bits. So to start with, we have our, let's see, yes, this is just the rule book. We call it just the rule book, okay. And whilst this rule book is very large, and it looks like there is a lot of rules in it, which there kind of are, the play aids in this one are actually pretty decent, and as such, you have, so a lot of this is scenarios and bits and pieces. So the rules themselves, 22 pages of rules, but there's a lot of iconography in the game, and so you can play off the play aids fairly quickly, because they can cram quite a lot onto them of what everything does. So that's the rule book. Now we also have a background book, and this is, this is, how many pages is this? 70 odd pages? 67 pages. So we've got strategy tips, solitaire or team play, bits and pieces, lengthy examples of play in it, lots and lots and lots of that kind of thing. And then we've got, historical stuff, geography, notes, all this kind of extra bits and pieces. And then you don't need to learn all of this stuff. This is all just extra stuff. So, that's 70 pages of stuff, but you don't got to pick that up and learn all of it. So we have a sheet of stickers, and these are for your lords that you're going to put on little discs that correspond to the kind of off-map holding cards. And then we have three sheets of counters, and these are kind of like the coin ones where they're semi-pre-rounded. So you've got these pre-rounded ones up here for these larger ones, and these small ones, you have to kind of round or clip those yourselves, and I'm pretty sure that's because these are so small they can't get a die cut to do those without wrecking them, basically. They'd be too small. So you can do those ones yourself, but other than that, these are your classic coin-style counter sheets. So these are going to be your units, and you're going to have these are like little counters that go on the board. It's kind of hard to explain, but these are going to be on the board, and you're going to hire these into your army or levy them. Yes, that's the name of the game. And then they come with this many bits and pieces, and they stick around for this many turns that you put them on later on the track when you levy them. It's a very neat system. You have to be successful and conquer and feed your armies, otherwise they go home, because they're levied kind of, peasant armies and feudal armies in that way. And then we have some mules, and we have carts, provender you have to feed with, loot, and coins as well. This is very much a massive strategic game of supply and keeping your armies going. That's the core of this game. There's battle resolution, but a huge chunk of this is, think about it in a World War II sense, that you're the Eisenhower. You're at such a high level, you care about getting guys and pushing forwards and keeping them in supply and keeping them going. You're less worried about the minutiae of the thing. That's what this game kind of tries to represent. So we have some play aids here. So this is the politics reference, and then the adjust sequence, or the adjust status. We've got some little setup for orientation maps. So then these are the two main play aids that you'll use. And they are bifolds, and they are absolutely decked out. So you've got your sequence of play that you're going to flow through. But then these are the different units that you have, when the kind of strikes that they can do, the kind of protection that they get, and then some little notes. You'll be referencing this a lot when you're executing the combats. And then your strongholds, which are printed on the map, that kind of thing as well. When you battle and storm, you're going to kind of look at these results and follow through with the different actions that you're taking. And then the commands is what you can do on your turn. And this is what I talked about when, yeah, you've got 22 pages of actual rules, but so much of it is just condensed and boiled down onto here. You can have a read of that book, and then you're almost ready to go just off the play aid. It really is like that. So don't be intimidated by this one, is what I would say. Then we have these two wonderful cards, and they just look so great. And these correspond to all the different lords that you have and the armies that they can levy. And they, you know, just printing the artwork on the back is such a boon, and they're different. They really don't cheap out on any of this stuff anymore, which I really appreciate. We got the board, which we will whip out now. This is one of... There we go. So this is a slightly smaller board. It's not your 22 by 34 pieces. This is what, 22 by like 24, something like that? Yeah, it's not quite a square. So this is the map, and so obviously this game is the Reconquista and Riposte in Spain. So you've got, you know, Spaniards against the Moors, I believe it is. And if I'm wrong, please correct me. So what we were talking about with some of these units, he says, where do I put them? They're down here. So these markers are going to be, when you levy them, they go out onto here, and they give you these units, and the triangles and the rectangles mean something. And then those get put out X number of spaces later, and you have to have enough provender and loot to pay them and to keep them on the board. Otherwise, they go home because well, this campaign's not doing anything. I get nothing from this. We've fulfilled our couple of, you know, seasons of commitment that our Lord makes us do, but now we have to go back and attend to our farms and our families and all that stuff. Just a different time back then. So yeah, you didn't have a professional army in the same way with numbers of this scale and size. So all over the map you have some of these huge strongholds, and then some of these kind of you know, smaller medium ones, and then these very kind of small ones here. It's very interesting because this is quite a different style of artwork from Nevsky. You know, not better or worse, it's just different. I just think it's interesting to look at a map first of all and kind of just take it all in. But this is, you know, it's a point-to-point movement map. So you're traveling down like little roads, and rivers and bits and pieces. What do they have in here? It's roads and passes is what they've got. I don't know if they have rivers in this. Oh yeah, look like little rivers and bits and pieces. There's not many of those in this. It doesn't seem to be the case. That's slightly different from the previous one. So then there is a ton of wooden pieces, which we will get to. A bunch of dice. So we got our yellow and a kind of an olive drab dice. We have stacks of these different army and cards. Oh, these are sealed, and I can't open them. Give me a second. All right, these are very tightly packed. Here we go. So these are like giant drinks coasters, but don't use them for that. So this one is a battle board that you're going to have. And so when two armies come into contact, you're going to resolve a battle. You'll have an attacker and a defender, and you have all of these wooden pieces that represent different types of units, and you'll set them up in different center, left, and right wings, and then some reserve units, and it's like a little tactical battle that you actually resolve when two armies meet. Because all of this stuff, all of your units are kept off map on these holding boxes. So you'll have a number of lords. So you've got Sancho the First and Rodrigo, and then they're going up against. Let's go with like just Yusuf, because they're freaking huge armies, and so these will be represented by the little discs in here that have stickers on them, and that's basically all that's going to be on the board. Some stickers, and then some of the markers. All of the actual units are going to be held on these off-map cards, and when they come into contact with each other, you kind of take everything, stick it on here, and you fight the battle. So the map is small, but the playing space, can get much larger when you've got all of these out. So just know that that's something that can happen. There's a ton of these. They are single-sided. A bunch of them, and they've got the corresponding symbols on them. So this guy can levy these 2 units, for example, and then you're going to put those on this track when you levy them, and you have to keep them paid, like we said, before they kind of go home. So you need to be aggressive to be able to get enough provender, enough loot to pay and sustain your campaigns. It's a very, very interesting system. Going and laying siege and being successful, your army sees success, they stick around. So we'll have a quick look at all the wooden pieces. There is a bunch of them, and I don't remember everything that they have, because there's quite a few, but it's all represented here. So we have these kind of light silver triangular pieces. Those are knights. And we have these darker grey steely looking ones. Those are sergeants. And the blue triangles. Did they replace the blue with purple? They may have replaced the blue with purple in this game and didn't tell us. Because there is not any blue. Oh, no, there are blue. There was a separate bag of blue, wasn't there? Yeah, there it is. These pieces replace the dark purple pieces. So someone goofed at some point. That's funny. So you can play with purple or blue, I guess. So the blue ones are African horse. These light brown ones are light horse. And then we've got these steel kind of squares, or rectangles, I should say, men at arms. The blue rectangles are African foot. Kind of like the purple ones. I might use those. They don't fit with any of the other color schemes in this game, but they look cool. And then we've got these kind of darker brown militia units, and these very light orangey tan ones, which are serfs. So you can have, and then like all of this are going to be held corresponding to these. You stick them on here. That's off map, and all of those forces are represented by one disc of the corresponding color with the sticker that matches this. So these little stickers you're going to stick on here. This army represents this board, which has all of this crap on it, for example. So you have very little clutter here, and it's all kind of stored off map, which means it's a little bit more manageable, a little bit, it's more manageable here, but assessing forces, you have to kind of look off map and do all of that. The last things that we've got in the box is a bag of bags, and you will need it. There's a lot of components in here. And then we have some decks of cards, which we will open. There are 4 decks of cards. One of them is like, it's like actions and events, I believe. So we've got this deck of cards, and then we've got this deck of cards. Yes, Arts of War. And you can only have a certain number of Arts of War, and picking those up is very difficult. So the Arts of War are dual-sided. You're going to play it for either one of these things. And it just it's got little symbols on it to help you like identify. Oh, it affects these guys in a battle. Bowman and crossbowmen defending. You get all this stuff. So is it Christians? Okay, so is it Christians against Mohammedans at the time? Well, we will get there. But yes, these are kind of dual use. You can pick one of these to do, and you purchase a couple of these. Kind of harder to get a hold of. These are the cards that you can use to activate different units. So you will have, based on a scenario, because you're not going to have all of them out at any given time, because some of them only come out at certain points. And so a scenario you might have, I've got all of Alfonso, and I've got all of Garcia. And so you get all of their cards and you shuffle those up, and then you're going to draw those for activation. So these are just a bunch of different cards that correspond. And some of them have more, some of them have fewer. Is that true? Looks like a lot of them have 4. Some of them have 3, some of them have 4. And so that's how you're going to activate units with this little card. And then you're buying these Arts of War cards and trying to get a few of those to just give you that extra edge in some battles and stuff. So there's an absolute ton in this game. I am very excited to play this. We played a little bit of Nevsky. It was great. Maybe a little bit over our heads, but I think we're a bit more experienced at this point, and I want to dive into this because I also think a very interesting piece of history that we also don't know much about. So I'm excited to play this. We'll let you know how this is. So appreciate you very much for tuning in. I've been Alexander from thePlayersaid.com.